Okay, so firstly, welcome everyone in our Postoina cave. This is where we're gonna start our tour right now. So for the start, we're gonna go up the Great Mountain, or across the Great Mountain, then we're gonna slowly go down and circle around the cave. So the point where we're gonna end this tour is gonna be across there. You're gonna see the lights. So just for your orientation, we're gonna make a circle and come just down here. Because I believe that you will lose your orientation once inside. So. Okay, yeah, just gonna wait for the group to move on, then we continue. But just before we go, I just want to ask you all to just stay in one group. So once we stop, you are all with me and you can hear my explanation well enough. I would also like to ask you to turn any lights off or the flash that you have on your phone, just turn it off, please. And we also don't touch the formations in here because they're still growing at this very moment, and of course we respect the nature for that. Okay, so that's it for now. Just stay with me, and we're gonna stop somewhere in the middle of the mountain. A little bit about this cave. The Postoina cave is actually the longest tourist cave in Slovenia, and it has for now 24 kilometers of discovered tunnels. So today we're gonna see 5 of those kilometers, 5 most beautiful ones actually. So we actually saw 2 kilometers right now when we were driving inside this train. And now we're going to walk for about an hour or so. We're going to see 1.5 kilometers, and then we go back on the train and out of the cave. So you don't have to worry, we're not going to leave you in here alone. We'll go out at the end. So right here, we stopped because I think it's time for me to explain to you how everything around us was actually made. So how this whole cave was made, how the formations are made. And if we really go at the beginning, we go 3 million years ago, when there was River Piuka running on the surface. We could see this river on the left side of the plateau before entering the cave. Maybe you saw it. We're still going to see this river once we exit the train. So River Piuka was running on the surface 3 million years ago, and it came to the limestone base. So the water slowly started dissolving this limestone, firstly going through cracks, then slowly widening those cracks, which eventually became tunnels. Now when river went deeper and deeper, also because of tectonics, it left behind dry tunnels, like the one that we are standing in right now actually. This is also one of the dry tunnels. So till today, our Postoina cave was made in 3 different levels. The oldest one is somewhere above us. It's actually really hard to access those parts today because some have already collapsed within themselves. And the youngest level is somewhere in that direction, below us, and River Piuka is running through that level right now, creating new levels, and actually running to 4 other caves that are also part of this whole cave system. So besides Postoina cave, we had 4 other caves that form this whole system. And this system then has 24 kilometers. Okay, so everything that we're going to see today is part of this middle level. And you could already see on the way up here that it's decorated with all the beautiful formations around us. So now we have cave, now we have to fill it. So how are the formations made? They're actually made with rainwater. So when the rainwater goes to the surface, it's also dissolving a limestone on the way. And when the droplet full of limestone comes on the opening on the ceiling, on the crack, it starts depositing that limestone around that crack. And when that limestone there crystallizes, that's how we get the formation. So if you look up on the ceiling, right behind you, up here, you can see the formations growing from the ceiling. And any ideas how do we call these?
Stalactites.
Yes, we call them stalactites with T. And of course, the drop of water with some limestone in it can fall down on the ground, and then it starts depositing all that limestone on the ground. And that's how we get all these formations growing from the ground, and we call those the stalagmites. Yeah, so we have stalactites on the ceiling and stalagmites on the ground, and of course in time, if the dripping is constant on one point, they can come together. And that's how we get the formation that we call a column or a pillar. Yeah, so we have one column just behind you up here, so this is a column right here. So we see those are some basic formations around the caves. We also have way more interesting ones, just we're going to see them a little bit later. Now if you look behind you, you can see here the tallest stalagmite in the whole cave. Any guesses how tall this one is? A little bit more.
50.
Yeah, that's really close. One more
55. 51.
meter. 16.
16.
16 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said 15. Yeah, it's 1-6.
1-6.
And this one is around 150,000 years old. And now we come to the age of formations. And I have again one question for you. Does any of you have any idea how much time they actually need to grow? So any idea how much time for how much of the formation?
1 millimeter, 100 years.
Okay, yeah, that's a good guess. Sorry?
100 years per centimeter.
Yeah, that is correct. 100 years for a centimeter, or 10 years for a millimeter. But we are also going to see the formation that needs 100 years for 1 millimeter. We're going to see this one also in the chamber in the second part today. So yeah, pretty long time. And some of the oldest ones, the oldest one that they discovered the age of it is 540,000 years old. And then we have to 50,000 years old, and of course some younger ones. So, okay, let's continue now. We're gonna make a little quick stop at the top of the mountain, and then we continue down. So this is the lay, and right now we are around 80 meters below the surface. So above us is around 60 meters of stone. So it's pretty deep right now. And we are also around 40 meters above the entrance to the cave. So yeah, this is the point now where we're gonna go down slowly and circle around the cave. Okay, just one more interesting thing. The mountain that we are standing on right now wasn't always a mountain. You see these huge stone blocks around here? Those were all part of the ceiling once upon a time. So around 50,000 years ago, the ceiling collapsed, and that's how we got this mountain that we are standing on right now. But don't worry, nothing can fall on us today. So no worries about this. Okay, let's continue now. And over here you can see the bridge where we're gonna stop also down there. This whole part that we went through right now, this so-called Great Mountain, is called the Old Cave. Old Cave because this part was first discovered, and this was in year 1818, so 1818. Really easy year to remember. So in this year, the local man named Lukacic was climbing up on the entrance to the cave. He was putting up some chandeliers, and he climbed a little bit higher than usually, and kind of like fell into the tunnel that he discovered in front of him. So he went through with this tunnel and discovered that there's more to it than just the entrance part. So only 1 year after his discovery, people already started coming in here, the first visitors. But of course, it was not so easy for them to come in here because there were no paths made for them and there were no trains going inside. So of course, they had to climb over rocks and they had to move around the formations. And to come to the top of the mountain, they actually needed 4 to 6 hours from the entrance. So it was also a very long tour for all of them. Then everything became a little bit easier in year 1872 when they built first railway tracks in the cave. There were still no trains inside, but they had those carts, small carts for 4 people. So 4 visitors sat on those carts, and the guides had to push the carts to the cave. It's quite a challenging work for the guides. Okay, now then later we got locomotives on diesel, and today we have 6 electrical trains that need only 10 minutes to drive us inside. So we do have it pretty easy today. Okay, now there was also an important year, 1883. It was the year that they installed electricity in here. Before that year, they were lighting up the rooms with candles and torches. And after this year, we got electrical lighting in here. So, because of these torches and candles, and because of the first locomotives on diesel, there was a lot of smoke in the air. And all the smoke went down and popped on these formations around here. And that's why we see all this gray coverage on the formations around here. Okay, so let's go a little bit further down and we're gonna stop at the bridge. So you're just gonna look up right now. And you can see here on this wall that we have formations that look like, and we also call them the curtains. And curtains are made not from the water just dripping down, but when the drop of water is slowly going down the ceiling, leaving behind a trail of limestone. And when that trail crystallizes, we get curtains like this. You can look up there, we can also have some really wavy ones. So they're pretty amazing. So this is this one, very special formation. Okay, now again to the history. So in which year was this whole part discovered that we call the Old Cave?
1818.
Great, thank you. Okay, now in front of us, after this bridge, we can see there is a second part, another tunnel. And this one was discovered a little bit later, in year 1891. So this was after they installed electricity in here, and that is also why this part is a very preserved one and very clean, because they didn't use candles and torches in there. So it's a very, very beautiful part. Actually, the most beautiful one today. It also has a very original name. Any guesses? Beautiful one? Yeah, you're the first one to guess it. This part in front of us is called the Beautiful Caves. So yeah, inside we're going to visit 3 chambers. The first chamber is going to be Spaghetti Chamber, where we will see stalactites that look like this. We can see a small tube, and we named those tubes the spaghetti ones. So we're going to see many of them in the first chamber. Then the second one, yeah, they're going to be beautiful. The second one is White Chamber. There are formations from pure calcite, and pure calcite gives this white color. And then the third is Red Chamber, where the formations are mixed with iron oxides. And iron then gives this red color to the formations. Okay. Those are now the symbols of our cave. So right here on the left we have a Gothic pillar, and next to this pillar is the most beautiful stalagmite that we have in our cave. And we call this one a brilliant. And as you can see, it has this snow white color because it is from pure calcite, which is very unique because as you can see, you can look around you, we can see many colorful ones. So on the ceiling there are also some black formations and of course red ones in the back. That's why it's so unique. And you can also see them on our uniforms. So they're the same ones. Okay. Now you have time for a few pictures, and then we also have one animal which is here to see. It's not a live one, but still an animal. So up here we have a chicken.
Yeah.
You see a chicken?
Yes.
Yes. Big one. Baby dragon, but other names for this animal, it's also a human fish, or Proteus sanguinus. This is the original name for this animal. But yeah, we mostly call them human fish. So this one is actually a baby one. This one was born in 2016. This was the first year that we had babies from the human fish in this cave. It was huge news back then. And this is actually a live footage right now. So they're not doing much, as you can see. But yeah, they can actually grow up to 30 centimeters. And they live in dark tunnels of underground rivers. So we also have them, many of them actually in our Pilka River. So yeah, because they live in darkness, their eyes are overgrown with skin, so they cannot see anything at all. So 10 years without food they can last, because their metabolism is really slow and their heart only beats 2 times a minute. So yeah, we can see they don't do much, and of course they don't need that much energy. You don't have to worry, we're not trying this whole 10-year thing in here. We feed them every month, so they're not starving. Okay, now about their name. Human fish comes from the fact that they can live up to 100 years. So 100 years similar to a human. That's why the name. Okay, now just before we go visit them in the aquarium, I want to tell you a little bit about the last chamber that is up there in front of us. It's also the biggest chamber in Postoina Cave, and it's called Concert Chamber. The name comes from the fact that they had concerts in there since ages. Also Milan's La Scala had its concert here. You know, the acoustics in the chamber is really great, and also the echo lasts more than 6 seconds. So if anyone wants to try the echo, you can sing for us up there. Or you can just clap. Okay, there's also a small shop, which is interesting because it has cave post office inside. So in our Postoina Cave, we had the first cave post office in the world, and it's still operating today. So even today, you can send your own postcard with that stamp just from Postoina Cave here. That's that interesting. Okay, now I would invite you to visit the fishes, just without any light or flash, please, because they are very sensitive. Otherwise, that will be all from me. So we're gonna go together till the end, and then we're gonna train to leave the cave. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the tour, and thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.